Phil Wade with Dalton Wade Real Estate Group, and today I'm joined with Sam.
Hi.
and Brian's holding the phone. Alrighty. Hey, so today we're going to talk about the buyer's financing contingency. So that's usually one of the two contingencies your buyer will have when you write the contract. The first one is the home inspection contingency, and the second one is the financing contingency. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So a lot of these trainings come from, questions during the week from agents. We had a question this week where, the agent kind of missed the concept around, the buyer's financing contingency. It's a very important one because if you do miss it, you can potentially lose your buyer's deposit. Not good. So we're going to talk a little bit about that so everybody understands it. So basically the financing contingency, it means if the buyer doesn't get the loan and you notify the listing agent, prior to the financing contingency date expiring, they get their money back, they get their deposit back if you tell them they're not getting the loan. Or a lot of times what happens is there's some uncertainty. The date, let's say it's in a month from today, which would be November 7th. So on November 7th, they have to have the loan. Well, come November 7th, they don't have the loan. It's still in underwriting. They're still trying to get the thing underwritten so the person can get the loan. Now, if now it's November 8th, that financing contingency is evaporated. If they don't get the loan, then they don't get their deposit back, or at least there's a chance of them not getting their good faith money deposit back. And as a buyer's agent, that should never really happen. Or if it does happen, your client knows about it. It shouldn't be a surprise to them that they're not getting their money back. What would be a situation where that would happen? Well, on November 7th, one day or on the last day of your contingency, you would have a conversation with your buyer. Look, here we have three options. Option one, because they don't have the loan, it's not 100% yet that it's a done deal. Okay, so you could say to your buyer, well, here we are, today is the last day of our contingency. We have three options. Option one, we can ask the seller for an extension to give us more time, right, to get the loan. Option two, we can tell the seller we're out of here. We didn't get the loan, or we're worried about getting the loan, and that way we get our deposit back. Or option three is to go what I call naked. Basically, you let, even though you're not a cash buyer, you've turned yourself into a cash buyer. So you let the financing contingency expire with the hope that at the end you're going to get the loan. And then, unfortunately, if you don't get the loan, then you have the chance of losing your deposit. Now, that, as long as your buyer knows that, you've told them that, they understand that, they get to make the decision. It's when agents forget about the financing contingency, and then now the financing contingency is evaporated, they don't get the loan for whatever reason, and the buyer then says, I want my deposit back. Well, they're not really entitled to get it back, and the seller may not give that back to them, and so it's kind of like a double whammy. They didn't get the loan, and then they didn't get their deposit back. And you as a buyer's agent should feel terrible if that is a situation that happens to you. That should never happen. You need to be on top of your dates. So that's the buyer's financing contingency and how it affects your buyer's good faith deposits on the property. So probably about 6 months ago, they changed the contract. It used to be you had to have a written loan commitment. So the loan commitment would be a letter you would get from their lender that would say, okay, they've gotten the loan, except, we need to check their employment, or we need to check their tax transcripts, whatever it happens to be. Now they've changed that to loan approval. So now in the contract it says in 30 days the buyer is going to be approved for their loan. So it's the same as the contingency, but now they've changed the wording a little bit. So now, as the buyer's agent, you have to notify on the 30th day or before, you have to notify the listing agent, did they get the loan, in writing, and tell them, yep, they got the loan and we're moving forward. Because if you don't notify them in writing, they can cancel the contract on you on the 31st day. So think of how bad that is. Your client got the loan, and then you forgot to tell the listing agent that you're all good to go, and they basically cancel the contract on you, boot you out, because maybe they have a backup offer where the buyer, there's another buyer who's willing to pay them more. So they're looking to get rid of you, and you gave them a reason. So all this stuff, you have to have a really good understanding of kind of the mechanics of the dates and how it all works. If you have any questions, if you're a Dalton Wade agent, or if you're an agent even from another brokerage, give me a call, send me an email, I'll help you. But you always, want to be ahead of those dates, because if those dates come and go, potentially your buyer may not get their deposit back. So that's why we're having this training. Hopefully everybody's got a better understanding of it now. Are there any questions in Facebook land? Anybody with any questions out there, Brian?
Nope, I can't see any.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. And as I mentioned, we'll be back certainly next week with another training topic. And if anybody does have any questions on the financing contingency, it is one of the ones I see get messed up, and buyers have, buyers agents don't always have, kind of the proper grasp around, the concept, and therefore they have the risk of losing their buyer's deposit. Thanks for tuning in. You just hit it and say stop or whatever.